Do what you want to do. Live the life you want to live. Never let somebody else tell you how to live your life.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
Welcome to the Talk About the Magic podcast, where you'll find inspiration and encouragement tied together with the magic of Disney. Now, here's your host, Joseph Ballesteros.
What is going on, Magic Cheers? It's so good to be back publishing on Sunday. Man, oh man, that was a weird little sick phase I went through, but I'm so glad to be over it. I'm excited to get you today's show. It is just full of inspiration, encouragement, just like every show. This show in particular is a little close to my heart because the person on the show, she went through her own weight loss journey, and as you know, I'm on my own weight loss journey as well right now. And so it's Rebecca from RebeccaLivesAtDisney. Her Instagram is RebeccaLivesAtDisney, and I was really moved by her story when I found her on Instagram because she does live by Disney. She's 5 minutes away from Disney, so obviously that's a huge plus. When you follow her account, you can see a lot of awesome Disney stuff. But also she kind of she started a YouTube channel. She shared her story of how she did her weight loss and how journey it was, her mindset of what she had to change in her own life to get to where she wanted to be, and that really motivated me. And I think it was that really made me kind of remember what it was that helped me lose weight in the past and why it was so important for me to lose weight again. Because I know a lot of people would think like, who cares, whatever, I don't really need to worry about it. Like, and that's fine if that's how you feel. But if you don't feel that way, if you don't think that way, if you want to change, you can't make excuses. We're in this together, and that's why I'm here. I've said this before. If you guys want to talk to somebody, you guys can always reach out to me. And this is what I'm going through right now. I'm trying to conquer my own, goal and dream of losing weight. And it was so great having her on because she shares her story on how she did it and what she's doing now, being so close to Disney and, to avoid getting back into that old habit and gaining the weight that she has lost over the years. So really excited to get this show on. Before we start though, I do want to again thank you guys for subscribing and telling your friends about Talk About the Magic. That is the best way you can support the show. Let them know we have podcasts here Monday through Friday and then again on Sunday. And on Sunday, it's that big one, right? It's that one that's going to really get you motivated for that start of the week, or get you pumped for the end of the week, whatever it is, whatever day you're listening to it. But that's honestly just one of the biggest ways to help. And I've seen it. I have, of course, stats and everything on the podcast, so I know you guys are sharing it, and it means the world to me because it truly has made a difference. And it really helps other people hear the wonderful stories and inspiring stories that the guests share here on the show. So thank you so much. Now, if you want to sponsor, of course, there's another way to do it. You can head over to talkaboutthemagic.com/Amazon Magic. That will take you to the Amazon page like normal, and you just get whatever you want from Amazon. That helps out the show that way. Or you can head over to the talkaboutthemagic.com/shop. That is the Etsy store. I have some digital prints on there. I have some vintage VHS, and I'm getting some more stuff up. But I have also some music. It is my music. So if you ever wanted to hear what I sound like when I'm singing, trust me, it doesn't sound like the way I do right now with the little stuffy nose. But please go over and check it out there to talkaboutthemagic.com/shop. But without further ado, let's get into today's show with Rebecca. Hello, Rebecca. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks, Joe. I'm excited.
I'm excited. I've been a follower of your Instagram account for some time, and like I was telling you, when I first found your account, what really made you stand out to me, I say this with full sensitivity and respect. I'm a bigger person. I have always been a big person all my life, and I had lost a lot of weight. I lost 60-something pounds, and then I gained it back. And so I've always kind of felt, not to say that it's not possible, but I always have felt, it's a lot more difficult, it seems, for people like me. And when I found you and I found kind of your story and, you shared a video on YouTube kind of explaining what happened with you on your own weight loss journey, I mean, I was blown away because you were able to lose so much weight. And even more awesome is you now live next to Disney and you get to enjoy all the food of Disney. And you give, of course, some great tips about that. But before we get even deeper, can you just let the listeners know a little bit who Rebecca is?
Absolutely. Let's see. I'm a wife and a mom. I've been with my husband for 12 years. My daughter is 9, and she's been going to Disney since she was 5. I own and run my own online business, and I live like 5 miles from Disney, and I love cake.
Yes. Yeah, that's the reason why I always ask this question is exactly for that. I want people to know that, you're like them, or, that they're in a situation like you. There's a lot of people, a lot of mothers especially, and fathers actually, because I'm a father trying to do the same thing, who want to get into their own online business, who want to be able to bring income a different way than that normal kind of 9 to 5. And I'd say there's nothing wrong with that, but it definitely, it is exciting to kind of venture in that world of online business. So being that you have done that, you obviously know the pressures of, what comes with an online business, what it comes to being a mother and a wife. What motivated you and what kind of got you started on your own weight loss journey that you did? Like maybe, if you can give details as far as was it something that you've always struggled with? Was it just kind of one of those things that you were like, whoa, it just sneaked up on me? And, how did that happen?
It did not sneak up on me. I feel like I was big since a teenager. I definitely hormonal, So I was just always a larger one in my family. Everyone was pretty small, and it was just, that was me. That was Becky. That was who she is. That Becky's just big. And it wasn't until I was about 26 years old that I was really stressed out, and I really couldn't control the stresses in my life, and a lot of things you can't control. And I just said, I can control this though. I can control what I'm eating. I can control how I'm moving, and I'm going to do it. I'd never exercised in my life. I wasn't sporty at all. And I pretty much just ate whatever I want. And thus I was like about 300 pounds, and I'm 5'7". So it, laid that way. And I just started moving. I just started going for walks to start because I was afraid of doing anything else and hurting myself. So I just started walking, and I lived in upstate New York, so when it became winter for 9 months out of the year, I did a walking program inside my house where you walk in place and whatever, and just lots of cardio, and downloaded some apps really on what I should be eating for my height and my age, and started paying attention to calories. And it didn't happen overnight. It took about 5 years for me to lose 127 pounds. I went down 7 sizes, and it wasn't easy. There were times I gained weight back, especially on my second Disney vacation. I gained 20 pounds in a week. I just let loose. But every time I saw that I had gained some weight, I refocused, and I would switch things up. I never did the same thing because it doesn't work all the time. So once I hit a wall after just losing weight easily, because I was eating about probably 5,000 calories a day at one point, and then I went to 1,500 calories, that weight came off easy. Then I hit a wall and joined Weight Watchers, and they taught me how to eat. And then once I realized I wasn't using that app anymore, I canceled that payment, which was a nice feeling. And I just kept going. I watched a lot of motivation of other people that helped.
Mm-hmm. I think first off, a lot of awesome points you just brought up. I think one thing that and it goes with everything in life, but I think in particular, especially when it comes to weight, this rings so true. And it's like you just said, it didn't happen overnight. We want to see immediate results, especially because we might feel the immediate effects. So if we're used to eating, if we're used to eating 2 slices of chocolate cake, maybe a burger, fries, and then we give that up for some, lean chicken and broccoli, we feel that effect. We feel that effect right away. We get angry because we're like, where's my sweets? And then we don't see any weight loss right away. And that can be discouraging. But I mean, what you said is true. I mean, it took you 5 years, but at the same time, had you not started when you did, who knows how longer it would have taken you. And who knows if you'd even be where you're at today. That's why it's so important to start immediately. But I love that because 5 years seems like a long time. But guess what? 5 years is done and gone with, and look at where you are now. You know what I mean? You're in your weight that you want to be. You're not, where you were, I should say at least, which was not good for you and health-wise and emotionally. So, like I said, it goes with everything in business. In particular, though, I kind of wanted to focus on the weight just because it's something I struggle with, and I think a lot of listeners can definitely relate to having the same kind of issue. And we have to remember it does take time. So, being that you now have, you had lost so much weight and everything. Then you found out you're going to be living by Disney World. Let's just get into this, all right? Let's talk about this, because that's a huge. First off, that's a huge life change. From wherever you're coming from, regardless where it is. Knowing that obviously, let's say that you were, moving to be at Disney, but knowing that you're so close to truly one of the most magical places in the world, that's the first thing you think, I'm going to go visit. And then, of course, not just Disney. Of course, there's SeaWorld and Universal and all this other fun stuff. But, how did that kind of, and again, I think this is something that a lot of us who struggle with weight will really understand, but how did that play with your mind? Because you've been so focused, right? You've been so strict on what you do, and what you eat, how you exercise, and then you come to this place that basically is, I always think of Pinocchio. I know that's a bad way to put it, but I think of Pinocchio, the scene where he, goes with the boys and they go have fun, and he does a little too much, but how did your mind, how did you train yourself to understand, look, even though this is Disney, and even though I have all of this available to me, if I want to stay the way I am, I need to, not go overboard.
Absolutely. Well, I will say that by going from 300 pounds to what I am now, I kind of created a machine. My metabolism definitely is fast, and I do stay up on top of like a lot of weight training, and you create that muscle, and that muscle can handle cake and ice cream. So, and not just, hot dogs. So, but yes, it is a mindset. I was someone who's addicted to eating. I wouldn't binge eat. I just wanted to be eating at all times. So when in doubt, was eating. So when I gained 20 pounds on one of my Disney vacations, I came home and, of course, I was mad at myself. And I vowed to myself that I wouldn't let myself be so upset after a vacation. That's really not the point of leaving Disney and then being mad at yourself. Yeah. So I went on vacation again the next year and changed how I ate on vacation. And that helped me realize that I could live near Disney. And I did move here to live near Disney. Like my online store, I could do anywhere. So I was like, I'm moving to Disney. So it was the goal to be able to go to all the festivals and eat all the foods. So anyway, I definitely knew I had to share food. The vacation, I gained 20 pounds. I ate things and didn't share with anyone. You can get your own. I'm going to eat this entire Gaston cinnamon roll. Now I share that with 2 other people. So it's about self-talk too. I will say to myself, you can have more of that later. You can have that another time, especially even just eating at home. Like I can have more cake later. A self-talk like that. And then I do eat pretty boring food at home. I know my friends say it's not boring because it looks really good, but I mean, it's not fun Disney food at home. I don't have cakes at home. Right. I don't, so I eat really well at home. So when I go to Disney, I don't make myself feel bad because that doesn't help. But you have to have a balance there. I want the cake. I want the ice cream sandwich cookie from the Main Street ice cream parlor. Like I just had it yesterday. Like I want that. So when I'm home, and my husband, who doesn't have to worry about his weight, makes a ton of cookies, I say to myself, I don't want those cookies. I want a Disney cookie. So I make myself wait.
Now, excuse me. Sorry, guys. I know my voice is still not there. But I do want to bring up what you just said there, because I remember seeing your video, and you kind of mentioned this on your YouTube video. And it may seem a little weird to talk to yourself in that way, but honestly, I 100% know where you come from. And I used to do that myself. When I had lost all that weight, I would literally tell myself, sometimes verbally, like even if people are around, sometimes verbally, yes, this isn't worth it. Because it would be like we'd go to a birthday party, right? They'd have a chocolate cake or something, and I would think, I just did, an hour of exercise at the gym or whatever, and, I would look at the cake, and I already had eaten a slice of pizza, I already had drinking, a small cup of sweet tea or whatever. And I would look at the chocolate cake, which was sweets are my big downfall, man. I could eat, terrible. But I would look at it and I would say, you know what? It's not worth it. So I would literally, it's funny because people would kind of look at me like, what is wrong with him? I would get my napkin and I would smush the cake on the plate. And I would literally smush it on the plate and then throw it away. And it might seem wasteful. It might seem like, this guy's a freak. But honestly, it's because I knew myself. And I knew I couldn't trust myself in the sense of if I leave it there, or if somebody else offers me another one, I might take it. And so I would have to really dispose of it quickly. And so when you're mentioning this, how you go home and you say, you know what, I'd rather eat a Disney treat than the treat from,
Yeah.
small little cupcake from Little Debbie or something. Totally understand what you're saying, and I think for me, this year my resolution was to lose weight again. I started to do that myself again, which is to say to myself, this isn't worth it, or you know what, you're gonna do this if you're gonna eat this, but you can't, go off and eat a 10-pound cherry cake, whatever. Not to say that I do that, but you know what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
So I love that you mentioned that, because that is it's a mental thing, right? I mean, it really is a mindset you have to put in your own head when you're doing this kind of stuff.
Absolutely. I think it's a mindset, and then I'm big on visualization. I think if you can't picture yourself smaller, if you can't picture yourself healthier, if you just keep picturing yourself what you see in the mirror, it's going to be harder to do. So I would I never saw myself smaller. So I just started to put in my brain like the perfect body that I was thinking of that I wanted to look like, and I'd smash my head on it like it was a magazine clipping or something, and just in my mind. And I just kept focusing on that. Some people need that visually, and you go for it. Make it, put it on a card, like put it on your wall and actually have it there. I just had it in my mind, and it eventually came. And I'm big on photographs because the mirror lies. The mirror, you look in yourself and you can still see the big person. So photographs helped, and that I had no photos of myself from age 17 to 26. So that's why my Instagram was important to me, because I was going to post photos of myself with characters and new friends and remind myself every day that you've done it and it's okay to have that piece of cake, but no, you're not having two.
Cut it off at two. Or one, I should say. That I love that, because the same thing what I'm trying to do myself, and I'm glad you said that, because now I'm like even more confident, because I thought the same thing. I found pictures of myself at my skinniest, and I thought, this is what I want to be again. And what you said also makes a very good point to me that I think would help out anyone who's starting their own weight loss journey. Something I wish I knew when I first started, to have an idea of what you want to look like. And the reason why I say that is because I lost 60 pounds, but I was never happy. I was never satisfied. I always felt like, I got to lose more. I got to lose more. I got to lose more. And before you know it, I was so focused on, I got to lose more, that I kind of got lazy. And then I just ate a little here, ate a little there, because I was like, I'm not as big as I used to be. And then before you know it, the weight came back. And I think what I've learned from then is to mentally think, exactly like you said, what do I want to look like? Reach that goal of what you're trying to reach. And once you get there, maintain it. I'm not saying you got to try to lose more, or I'm not saying it's bad if you gain a little more, but at least maintain it. Because I think if I had a goal in mind, it would have helped me stay focused on what I was doing. It would have helped me to feel proud of myself and happy that I reached it. Whereas even though I had lost 60 pounds, which is huge,
yes,
I felt like it wasn't enough, And I think that's a lot of people who are doing weight loss face, because they don't feel it's enough. They're never satisfied with how they look in the mirror. And I think, like you said, if you were to have a goal, I was going to ask you why you started the Instagram, but I see your Instagram, and one thing that attracts so much on your Instagram is your smile, because it's a well, okay, hold on. I don't want anybody to be like, whoa, this guy got creepy real fast. Hold on. No. I'm saying it's your smile, because you have a pure sense of joy. Like, you are truly happy. And that is a rarity in the world. You know what I mean? There's so many people who are always striving for that happiness, and for some reason they don't get there. And I think it's because they don't have their goal in place. And so you had your goal in place, and my goodness, not only did you lose the weight, but you're also living in a close to Disney. You have true happy right now. You're happy in your life. And so I think that's what's really inspiring with your Instagram. It should get people excited, because it's like, I bring these people on the show, people like yourself, to share the stories, because I want people to know it's real. It could happen.
Yes.
I lost 60 pounds. You lost way more weight than I did. And it's incredible that you've been able to do this, and you're still enjoying your life. It's not just steamed broccoli and,
No.
a big chicken.
Shoot, no. And I want to add that, I had visualized this person, and I have become that in my size. But I'm definitely if you would talk to a doctor, they would say I'm not finished yet. There's definitely weight that could still be lost. But I would say I fluctuate between 10 pounds difference, because when you eat sodium that you don't normally eat, you eat sugar you don't normally eat at home, you're going to fluctuate. Don't weigh yourself when you come home from Disney. Don't weigh yourself when you come home from Disney vacation. Give yourself a week to regulate. And because you're just going to make yourself feel bad. Pay attention to the clothes and how they fit more than the number on the scale too, because you will gain some muscle walking around Disney World too. So
yeah. No, and that's true because that's exactly what my doctor said too. I had gone from 240 to 176. He told me my weight for my height and my age should be from 160 to 165. So he was wanting me to lose another 15 pounds almost.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's why I think what you said is so true. Get where you need to be. Get where you're happy. And then you can take your next step. But first, reach, that goal that you're at. So what has been then a difficult thing when it comes to maintaining your weight?
I read this question and I'm thinking, I don't want to sound conceited, but I really haven't had much problem maintaining my weight since I moved here. Only because I'm okay with fluctuating between 10 pounds. And I mean, my doctor says I'm supposed to be at 135. I'm at 155 and I go from 155 to 165 depending on how much I eat at Disney, like how many visits I take. If there's a festival in town and I'm trying a lot of different of the kiosks. So, I would say it would be not beating myself up about that 10 pounds, and I'm okay with it. So
that is difficult. You're right, especially when there is something like food and wine festival and everything. You have to be like, it's okay, it's okay. So what excuse me. Wow. Okay. So what is your kind of your normal routine? What do you do? Are you a gym person? Do you just work out at home? Or now that you have Disney, are you just hitting Disney pretty much for your miles?
I wish Disney was enough, but it's not. I definitely do Disney at least twice a week, so I'm getting my steps in. However, I have to strength train because I've experimented, and if I don't strength train, I'm gonna gain weight when it comes to eating. It's just going to happen. So I have a gym here at my apartment complex, and then I also use YouTube, free YouTube videos. I do a lot of squats and lunges. I like to do challenges because they're short, but you get a lot in. You get a lot of strength training in, so like squat challenges, lunge challenges. And then I'll do the bike for like 30 minutes at the gym, but I do resistance on it. I like to do, they have like you're going up a mountain, like I'll do that one. And then I just strength train, and I try to do more every time I go to the gym. But I do slow movement. I'm not fast at the gym. So I have to go to the gym.
And how long did it take for you? Would you kind of say for you to kind of get the idea of what is working and what is not? Because again, when you get on this weight loss journey, you think, okay, I'm going to do, 20 miles a day. That's my goal. And I, like for me personally, I've realized what I need to do on how I lost all that weight. And I think everybody does it differently. Some people, first off, can't run. Some people are not able to. Some people can't lift or whatever. So how long did it take you to finally find your sweet spot of, okay, this is what actually is working for my body?
Well, it definitely went through stages, and it evolved because I went from walking because everything else hurt because I was so heavy. So I went from walking to walking faster, and I started to jog, and then I hurt my knee. And that's the day I realized I would never jog again. So I've never jogged again. So I do a lot of walking, and every time I stopped losing weight, I knew I had to change something because your body gets used to the same movement. And I will say that I learned a lot. I don't know if I'm allowed to even say the YouTube channels I use. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So I really like Fitness Blender on YouTube because it's a husband and wife. They're really down to earth, and they are huffing and puffing right along with you when you work out. They're not fake workout people. And they taught me how to safely work out. And I just started to see the difference and see the changes in my body and realize that I was doing it safely, and that's the way to do it. So I just know I need cardio. I don't know. It just worked. You can see when you have the muscle change, but I didn't do any strength training until I could really see it. I feel like I used to try to build muscle underneath, and then I read somewhere that was like, you need to lose the fat. Otherwise, all that strength training, you're going to feel so defeated if you can't see any of it. So once I actually started to be able to feel and see my muscle, that's when I started doing strength training. And then you can really get that gratification right away because you work out a muscle you can see, you're going to see it change. It's inevitable.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's a good point too, because that's kind of what I'm doing too. And trying to get my own rhythm of not too much strength and running and all that kind of stuff. And I asked you, I asked in the story, and you responded, and thank you for that, because I said, what do you do if you're sick? How do you exercise still if your body just heaves every 2 seconds? And you gave me some suggestions to look into on YouTube, which I think it did maybe like 5 minutes, but I think it helped because today I feel a lot better, even though I may not sound like it. I think I'm ready to actually get back on the treadmill and do a walk. But I like that you said that because, I don't know if my wife's going to get mad. Well, she doesn't hear it. You don't listen to the podcast, right? Okay. But I was going to say, because she says the same thing you said. She doesn't like running. She's shorter. She's a shorter dame, and she doesn't like running. She says she used to back in the day when she, wasn't where she's at now, but since she gained the weight, she finds it very difficult to run before she gets, kind of intense pain on her legs and stuff. So she's looking for different options, and I love how you just said that. It's like, I just stopped jogging and said, I'm going to walk now.
Yeah.
That's so true. You got to find what works for you and then just get it. So no excuses, in other words, for sure. There's always something you can do. So we know kind of why you started your Instagram, but now let's get into your YouTube account, because your YouTube it's being formed. You're taking the time out to make the videos and everything. So, but what motivated you to say, okay, I want to share what happened to me with the world? Because again, it's an awkward thing. It's an awkward thing to sit in front of the camera and just be, talking to yourself. You hope you're not talking to yourself, but you're talking to yourself.
Totally. Yeah, I definitely would. Like, I can't believe I do it because I didn't even have pictures of myself, and now I'm showing people myself on camera. Mm-hmm. I would say that I used to own my own company where I was a skincare expert, and I got sick of telling people would ask the same questions, and I felt like a broken record. So I made videos on skincare. So I'm very comfortable on YouTube. So then people started asking me about weight loss. And again, I felt like a broken record, and I don't have time to tell every individual person exactly what I've done and about it. So I was like, I'm gonna just make a video. And it just became something in my house that was funny, because it was like, anytime I was like, I'm just gonna make a video. I'm just going to make a video. And then I used to think there's enough Disney videos and vloggers. I don't need to do that. But people kept asking me for them. And still, I don't feel like I do enough of them. But yeah, so I just started doing the YouTube channel. And I feel like I want to answer your questions. So if somebody comments and asks a question, I'm going to do a video about it. If nobody asks anything, though, it's too easy not to do them. So keep giving me your questions, because then I'll make a video.
Yes, no, I like I said, I remember seeing the first video where you kind of explained what you were wanting to do with the channel and everything like that, but you started going into your weight loss and what you've done to maintain it, and so that's what really interests me, and I think you're right. You could definitely do what you want, it's your YouTube, but yeah, there's a lot of YouTube channels that just focus on Disney, but you definitely have a different angle available to you, because you can actually help people, not just when they're visiting Disney, but in their everyday life, of how to maintain, how to lose weight, because you're proof. And I think, a lot of people might think or might discredit themselves, or even, maybe me or you, because they say, well, like, you didn't go to school, like, you don't have, and yeah, we don't, but the fact is we're living proof of it working. And that's why we're able to talk. I mean, you're proof that what you do works. Even, maybe not for everybody, but for people at least who are like you, it does, because you lost 120 pounds, you're maintaining it. And so you're able to share with people, look, this is what I did. And I think it's important to share that message, because there's a lot of people who are looking for somebody like that. You know what I mean? They want to be able to trust somebody who's legit, who's a mother, who has her own business, who, still has time to go with her family and friends, who goes, lives by Disney. They want to find someone who they can relate to, rather than just that. Nothing wrong with Shalene Johnson and Tony Horton, or any of those guys, because I've used their stuff too.
Yeah.
But it's more of a real thing where I can reach out to you and say, hey, Rebecca, look, I'm having trouble with this. What did you do when this happened? And I think that's what makes people like you and people on the show so important to the world. You know what I mean? Because we're accessible and we're able to truly help people out. So that's great that you're doing the YouTube, and I hope you keep doing that.
Awesome, I will.
You better now. So what do you do to push through things when they get difficult, whether it's your weight or YouTube or even your online business? What are some things to help you kind of push through those problems?
To be honest, it's the reason I moved to Disney. When I go to, especially Magic Kingdom, I can de-stress and I don't worry. And I try not to worry about things I can't control. Patience used to be a real issue with me, but nothing happens quickly that's worth having or waiting for. So I had to learn patience. And whenever something stressful is going to happen, or I know I have to wait for something, I'll look at my husband and go, well, I'm going to go to Disney tomorrow then. So Disney's a big one. And obviously, if you don't live near Disney, I know a lot of people will turn on Disney music and, watch their favorite Disney movie. And I think that's super important.
I love that. Find your escape, right? I mean, that's good. And yeah, for people listening to the podcast, it probably has something to do with Disney for sure. We're all Disney hits here. Definitely. For me, I do that. I listen to music. I love watching the behind the scenes stuff on the films to kind of just forget whatever is going on. So that's a good point. Find your escape there. So what would you suggest to someone who is then wanting to start their own weight loss journey?
I would suggest starting now. If your brain is going to give you a million excuses why you shouldn't, you need to stop listening to those. That's what got us here in the first place. So just start now. And I'm a big one on keeping motivating people in your life and keep negative people and negative commentary out of your life. People had said to me 40 pounds ago, you're thin enough, you're small enough, you look good just now. And I used to come home and tell my husband that, and he was right. Maybe I'm making them uncomfortable, but that's their problem. So sorry, I'm super blunt. So I just recommend keeping motivating people in your focus. And like you'd said, I am someone that you can contact, comment, send me a DM on Instagram, and I'm going to contact you back. I'm not going to ignore you because I've been there and I needed people to help motivate me and tell yourself the kitchen's closed. You're done eating for the night. Like, it's just.
Yeah. I love that. That's so true, because sometimes even people, even if they're loved ones and they truly are trying to be nice, you're right. That's not where you're trying to get at. So you don't want to get distracted and sidetracked and off what your original goal was. So I love that. I love those points. All right, Rebecca, it's time for. The whole show's my favorite, but this is a fun part of the show, which is now the Disney Power Round.
And now it's time for the Disney Power Round, where we talk favorite parks, tips, and tricks for your magical Disney trip. Let's bibbity-bobbity do this.
Okay.
So, what is your favorite park and one thing that you love about it?
Well, all the parks I think are fantastic and different, but my favorite park is Magic Kingdom. If I had to pick just one for that one time, I'd go to Magic Kingdom. I like it because it has the most of everything that you can do in one day. The most rides, the most shows, the most food, I think. And yeah, I just love it. It's the true escape. I mean, that TTC, that hotel, it's far away once you're in Magic Kingdom. So you're kind of stuck to just enjoy the magic.
So then what would be your tip for the first-time Disney goer?
First-time Disney goer it doesn't matter how many vlogs you watch or how many books you read, I still believe in some kind of touring plan or concierge touring ideas where they can really have really great time management, because it is really easy to lose track of time in the park, and you're standing in a line for 30 minutes that you probably didn't need to stand in because earlier it was shorter. And there's a lot of free ones out there and inexpensive ones out there, and I've always used one on all my vacations, and I still use them here. So something that's going to help you control your time management at Disney. You can get so much in.
Nice. What would then be your tip for someone who goes to Disney multiple times?
I want to get away from the weight loss part of it. So definitely I have weight loss tips, but I think for somebody else, my opinion, just watching so many people go to Disney so many times, is I think you should have a group of friends for sure, but be open to meeting new people at Disney. So many of us move here to live here at Disney. So be open to meeting new people. Don't start a clique where you're closed off to everybody. There's so many amazing people to meet. I keep meeting more and more of them.
That is true. There are so many cool people that live in that area, and I get so, I don't want to say jealous because that sounds bad, but I get so, okay, one day it's going to be me, because I see people where they're running into each other, and I'm like, I've interviewed them both on my podcast. And I'm like, they're making friends, and I'm not there. But soon, one day, I will be over there. We already have a plan. It's a good 5-year plan. So we'll get there. We'll get there. So before we do close out here, Rebecca, I do want to give you a chance to share all the social stuff or whatever it is you want to share with the listeners. You know, your Instagram, YouTube, whatever it is that you want to share to get them to contact you or find out more about you.
Okay, well, I just have the two. I just have Instagram and YouTube, and it's Rebecca Lives at Disney. They're both that. Rebecca Lives at Disney. And follow me. I follow back a lot of Disney accounts, and if you're active with me and you're like you show that you're an actual human being, then I will talk to you for sure and meet you. I meet people on vacation all the time. So, yeah, that's where you can find me. Rebecca Lives at Disney.
Very easy. Very easy to remember. All right, Rebecca, so thank you so much for joining. But before we do leave, I always like to leave the guests an opportunity to just share that one last piece of information of inspiration and encouragement to the listeners. You know, it's a Sunday. They're listening to this on a Sunday. Work week's about to start, or maybe they're in mid-work week. But what would be some advice, encouragement, wisdom you'd like to just leave off here with our listeners?
Absolutely. I think this is about everything. Weight loss, moving to Disney, wanting something more in your life, especially when you feel jealous of other people. Like, that happens. It's normal. Everyone has their own reality and lives their life their own way. And in that, everyone thinks they know what you should live your life like and what you should do. Everybody thought I was crazy. Do what you want to do. Live the life you want to live. Never let somebody else tell you how to live your life.
That is hard.
Yeah.
That is hardcore. But yeah. I love that because that's what we are programmed to do, right? We're programmed to care what other people think, what other people say, how other people, look at us. But you're right, man. Just, it's your life. Live it, not theirs.
Yeah,
awesome.
absolutely.
Love the way we end that. Thank you so much for joining me, Rebecca, today. I really cannot wait for the listeners to listen. And guys, go follow Rebecca at Rebecca Lives at Disney on Instagram and everything because, like I said, she lives there at Disney and her stories are just fun, whether it's at Disney, and like I said, you can see happiness when she's eating an ice cream cake, a cookie cake. And I got to tell you, Rebecca, look, I saw that yesterday, and even though I don't have a Disney here, and as bad as I was feeling, I said, I got to get me one of those. So I drove down to Valero.
Yeah.
And I got me one of those.
That's awesome. Oh, great. Well, thanks, Joseph. I had so much fun.
I had so much fun, too. Thank you again for joining me, Rebecca. I look forward to having you on in the future.
Awesome.
I love what Rebecca said because this is something, again, that I think all of us are kind of trained to be or to feel, which is, somebody else who is not you, who is maybe in a different position than you, has a right to tell you what to do. And you need to obey it no matter what. Now listen very carefully to what I'm going to say. Because technically, on one end, that is true. There's people who have gone the distance. There's people who have walked the road that you're on. And for goodness sakes, they are offering you guidance and help. Listen to them. But on the other hand, you have to understand that just because they're giving you that doesn't necessarily mean it's the same for you. And you have to be willing and understanding to understand that you need to take a risk. You know what I mean? You may have to take that risk. Again, looking at my own personal life. I grew up, I'm a pastor's kid, and I grew up being told day in and day out that that's what I was going to do. Never by my parents. My dad never said, you better preach now. No, never. He was always open to say, okay, what you want to do, what you feel you should be doing, follow that. But everyone else, loved ones, strangers, it didn't matter who they came and they told me that this is what you can do. But it was so confusing for me and, sometimes even a little hurtful because I felt like I was letting my dad down. And I felt like I wasn't, I felt like if I said yes to this, if I just did it because, this is what you're supposed to do, I just felt like I would, in the end, basically ruin things, to say it in, not so nice words, but just, because there was no passion, there was no love for that. And the way I felt was so disheartened when I thought about doing stuff like that. And it's not because I'm against preaching or anything like that. It's just that wasn't my calling. And it's not until I realized that that's not what I was passionate about. That's not what I was, really wanting to do. That wasn't what I felt I was put on this earth to do. That's, until I realized that, that's when I was able to kind of back up and say, hold on, and kind of regain my idea of what it is I want to do. And this is what I want to do right here, what I'm doing right now, talking with you. This is what I love doing. This is what I'm passionate about. I want to inspire others as much as I can, whether it's through my own story or by bringing someone else and letting them share their story. This is my passion. Whether I get paid $0 or $1 million, this is what I want to do, no matter what. And, when I realized that, that's when everything changed. And it's a risk, right? I mean, this is all in all, quotations, a risk. I mean, I don't know. Tomorrow the computers can go out, Lipson can go belly up, and my shows could be lost, or all of a sudden maybe you guys just don't want to listen to me anymore and completely stop downloading the show and stop sharing it or anything like that. I mean, there's a risk in everything that you do. But that's why it's so important that if you're going to take the risk, make sure it's something that you really, really want to do. You really are passionate about it. That's what makes the risk worth it. And don't let other people come in and tell you this is how you need to do it. If they want to give you advice or their wisdom because they've been down that road, by all means, listen. You might save yourself a trip or a fall in the future. But don't let somebody come in and say you are not doing this right because blah, 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 blah. You never know. Like, this is why we do this show, because the way I see it is I want to inspire you because I don't know who you are. And for all I know, my words today could inspire you to do something great and greater than anything that you yourself could have even imagined. We look at Walt Disney. Again, right? That's what we started the show about. You look at Walt Disney at 16, 17, the little boy who was trying to still get into the military, but he was too young. The little boy who's writing political cartoons, but, nothing special. Little boy who finally got a little bit of, income going with his Alice in Wonderland series, but nothing. But then all of a sudden, you fast forward, 10, 15 years, and he's making Snow White. He's making Bambi. He's making Pinocchio. He's making films. And then you fast forward another 10 years, and all of a sudden he's building Disneyland. He's building Disney World. Every single time he went to do something, people were there to tell him why he shouldn't and couldn't. Every single time. You hear more about those people than you hear about that one or two people who said you can and you should. More often than not, more people will come and tell you why you cannot and why you shouldn't. And that's what Rebecca's saying here. You cannot let those people determine what your life is going to be like, because it's your life. You need to be willing to take the chance and be able to take the risk to say, you know what, this is what I'm passionate about, this is what I want to do, and I know I can do it. I need help, I'll get help. But I'm not going to let you just telling me no stop me from pursuing it. So I was really excited to have Rebecca on. I really hope you guys got some value from the show, and please be sure to share it with someone else who you might know. Maybe they're going through their own weight loss journey, or maybe something else, and you feel like this show will really help them. Please, by all means, share this show. I hope you guys have a great night, day, week. Whenever you're listening to this, I'll talk with you tomorrow for another Daily Disney. As always, stay magical.
This was the Talk About the Magic podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to rate, subscribe, and share with a friend. Thanks for listening, and as always, stay magical.